All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and today we are bringing you coverage, or I am bringing you coverage, I guess, of the 2025 Brickyard 400 full 50-minute practice session from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A little Fast Friday action for you. 3 straight days of Cup Series cars on the racetrack at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 2.5-mile oval. First and only trip here on the season, of course. It's going to be on the racetrack. You get a couple sets of tires throughout the course of this 50-minute stint. We'll see drivers trying to push their runs. And the great thing about having a full session, especially on a day before qualifying, because qualifying is still taking place tomorrow, it's only this practice session today for the Cup Series, that these guys can go through a full race trim, and then they can go through a separate, maybe with the other set of tires, qualifying trim. And then we can, from there, those teams would be able to make their adjustments necessary to be able to try to compete for the pole while still having balance for the race car when it comes to trying to figure out how they're going to be running and handling on the racetrack for Sunday for 400 miles. Weather is going to be a little iffy this weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Right now it is clouded skies, but hopefully we can get this full 50-minute session in with no rain. Truck Series racing will be at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. Their practice session will be coming up. The 2 live commentary streams for the day, but we've got about a 6-hour window between those live commentary streams. We'll also wrap up the NASCAR. NASCAR 08 race that we started yesterday from Charlotte. We'll end up finishing that as well. And that will be at about 6 p.m. Eastern. So triple header of NASCAR content here on KRC. NASCAR Xfinity Series just wrapped up their full practice session moments ago. So the leaderboard on the raw feed side of things for NASCAR.com as of right now is showing the Xfinity Series practice order. I believe Connor Zilic was fastest overall. Their race will be taking place tomorrow as well as qualifying in the afternoon. So 2:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon is when Cup Series cars will be on track, for single car qualifying. And the race will be at 1:30 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, beginning with our pre-race coverage as far as our streaming side of things go. Stephen Harvey, Marcus Villarreal, thanks for tuning in. Taking Christopher Bell for the win again. We'll be fast in practice, qualify front row for Indianapolis, and win the race. Man, some bold predictions there. Got a Chase Elliott pick as well. I'll put a poll in the chat, see most likely to win. Who is most likely win Brickyard 400? All right, I'll put Chase Elliott in there as well. Chase Briscoe's been on a hot streak, and he's an Indianapolis native, so for fun, I'll put Chase Briscoe. And instead of other, Denny Hamlin's never won this race before, but he's been pretty hot on the ovals lately as well, so I'll go Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney probably would have been my 5 slot. Just kind of remembering back to the Pocono race from a few weeks ago in particular as to how drivers performed there. So practice got washed out last weekend for Dover. So it's the first time we've had a Cup Series practice since their full 50-minute session that they also had at Sonoma. Tyler Burbeck, Hugo Solaz Contreras, and Rima, thanks for tuning in. Who was fast in Xfinity practice? Connor Zilic. I didn't get to watch any of it. I got home from work about 14 minutes before the start of the stream, so today. That is why there's no scrolling leaderboard at the top like there usually is. Not leaderboard, but statistics on the season. How certain drivers have been doing. If there's some lag issues going on right now, I apologize for that. Let me switch internet connectivities. Refresh the page. It should be a little bit better. Taking Chase Briscoe. Yeah, he won. I mean, what? He's finished first and second in the last two oval races, so you'd have to imagine Chase Briscoe is going to be a threat this weekend. I'll have more stats per driver for qualifying like I usually do with the qualifying side of streams. Got an extra day to try to get that done. So I'll be working on that diligently. My 4-hour gap time period between streams today. Did not catch that. Actually, I can look while we're waiting for Cup cars to hit the track. Larson was fifth. Yeah, so Larson was fifth. And Junior Motorsports had 3 cars in the top 4. Zilich was P1, Carson Quapple second, then Justin Allgaier was fourth, Sam Mayer was in third, which we saw Haas end up dominating last year's race at Indy between the 00 and the 98 at the time of Riley Herbst. Herbst won the race, and Custer finished second, had a 1-2 finish. Almirola was a threat for that one last year, and he was 11th in practice. It's like 38 cars on the entry list for the Xfinity side this week. Yep, NASCAR 25 coming out mid-October. Let's go. And a lot of us are excited about that. I might have to log out of NASCAR.com and try to log back in again. Cars are not on the track yet, so that would be the main reason why the raw feed is not up for the Cup Series. I would assume when cars get on the racetrack, we'll have something for you. As of right now, Denny Hamlin getting interviewed by Marty Snyder.
Doesn't have is the Brickyard 400. Congratulations again on Dover last week, but I'm sure that when a crown jewel's on the line, the attention shifts quickly, doesn't it? Where would you rank this in terms of races that you want to check off before it's all over?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would complete a, resume of majors, and certainly I'd like to get a few more of those before my career's over with, and this being a very, real, really legit part of that. And so, big race here. Certainly being part of the oval makes it a little more special as well. It probably arguably was as close on the road course that I was on the oval here at this track. So just had so many close calls over the years and just never been able to get to the checker first. And so certainly would love to do that this weekend.
I would argue you maybe had the best car in this race last year. So what is this race like behind the wheel? Because it feels like a chess match that we're watching play out of strategy and being out front, keeping track position.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's you're always fighting for track position, and certainly the crew chiefs have such a major role in that, and a lot of it starts with your starting spot as well. Here in this race we're looking at here, Brad, was running wherever he was running, pitted, caution came out, and then we were sitting ducks there at the end of that race. So it's just, man, just all these combined just make you really upset that you never get it done. But if we actually do one year, it'll just make me appreciate it a little bit more.
Is it hard to watch those highlights when you come so close like that, but you don't make it happen?
Yeah, I mean, giving it my best effort. There's not a whole lot I would change in the races that I've had here. There's obviously a few things you tweak here and there, but I feel like I've given it my best effort. Just things haven't always worked out.
I want to go back to last week real quick, and you not only had to race teammates once, but twice at the end of that race. Is the etiquette when you're racing for a win versus a teammate different than it would be if you're racing someone else from another camp?
I mean, you hope so, but it certainly as a driver and the next day in a meeting, you certainly think about it, and certainly you think about, well, what are the repercussions if we don't, if we take each other out when another team wins? You certainly then got to answer to the boss, not just the other person. So it puts your teammates in a tough spot when they're challenging for a win. But I think there's ways that you can do it without jeopardizing each other that also is maybe a little aggressive. So I think that everyone nowadays is aggressive for race wins. It's just it's a tough balance when you're teammates.
You and I chatted before the season started, and I think you would admit you're a little nervous coming into the year because, listen, you lost Chris Gabehart, you got Chris Gale. You didn't know what this team was going to be like. Are you, in a way, surprised at how well this team has reacted and the way Chris Gale kind of came in and kept going with what you and Chris Gabehart had built?
Yeah, and added to it. I'm going to give Chris his due in that, you know, he was in a spot in his cup career where he's really just worked with young drivers only. And certainly there's an element there where you got to be a crew chief and a mentor and a coach. And so he's never had the opportunity to just listen to the driver, trust the driver, go in that direction, and then see what happens,
Yeah.
right? And so he's really got that opportunity now and feel like he's done a fantastic job with it. We had great conversations actually early in the year. I think it was a strategy call that he made, and I questioned him after.
Yeah, you came back at him.
I said, especially at this point in my career, and he's like, "All right, going forward, we're going to be going for wins." And so it certainly paid off with his call last week, and really the whole team to give me an opportunity there to try to control that race.
All right, so as the metric goes, you would start first. Are you cool if it rains today and then rains tomorrow and rains out qualifying?
What do you think?
I think you would say yes. I think you would take that because is there a track that's more important to start up front than Indianapolis?
I can't think of one offhand. No, this is a super important one, and certainly feel like, our simulation program's, pretty solid and feel good about our baseline from last year. Where we tweak on that for this year, yeah, rain or shine, we're gonna be happy either way.
I know his driving is good, Adam. I don't know how his rain dancing is, but I think the entire 11 camp's going to be doing a little dancing between now and tomorrow afternoon. And they would take the metric, believe me.
The metric wasn't great to him last week. He started 13th at Dover. It worked out okay. But the pole would be awesome here for the Brickyard 400. So we just had another hit of lightning within 8 miles of the track. We pushed things back as far as track activity goes. How about the history and a trip inside the IM?
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like we're under a weather delay as of right now for practice for the NASCAR Cup Series. I was wondering about that, and I didn't check the weather beforehand. This might be a little bit longer stream than I was expecting. Let's go Speedway, Indiana. Yeah, there's thunder showers a little bit south of the track. I don't think it's actually raining at the racetrack yet. It's kind of crazy because Xfinity practice literally just wrapped up and they got their full session in. And now there's lightning in the area right before the Cup cars were supposed to hit the track. I believe that the window that they're going to give these guys is probably going to be until 3 p.m. Eastern, because that is when the Craftsman Truck Series practice session is supposed to take place at Indianapolis Raceway Park. And I don't think they're going to want to interfere TV-wise with another, NASCAR event, although they would probably be under the same parameters, because I would assume that Indianapolis Raceway Park is within an 8-mile radius of that of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I would assume so. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Let's see here. Brickyard 400 practice. Currently on a weather delay. Yeah, that's pretty wild, though. I mean, this could be 2 days in a row that we would have some sort of practice washout for the Cup Series. All right, I pinned my message in the chat. It says thunderstorms possible after 1 p.m. It looks like after 2 o'clock, it's very minimal chance of rain. But it's hot, it's humid, it's sticky. 89 degrees right now. Feels like 102 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it is hot. Probably get some driver interviews in here like we just had with Denny Hamlin. And we'll probably end up doing some NASCAR trivia at some point as well. Like I said, it hasn't rained at the racetrack yet, so I would assume we're just going to hold things off vicinity. If it does end up raining and we lose the racetrack, I don't think we're going to get practice in just because of how long this track is. 2.5 miles. We're not going to be able to dry it in less than an hour like we did at Dover a week ago. Kyle Larson now standing in with Marty Snyder in the garage area.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a lot of that. I think majority of it probably the large group in front of us saving fuel. It just kept the fuel kind of stacked up, and then with that there was some accordion and people were having to lift really early into the corners, and I had the fuel on board and the tires to make those late moves, and I think being the first one to them also was important. So because it looked like it became tougher for like Reddick and Chase, who were in the same strategy behind us, but that was a lot of fun. I was not expecting that at all. Lining up there, I was like, all right, let's just try to make the most of this. Maybe somehow squeak a top 10 out of this. Top 15 would be great from where we were starting. So yeah, had no thought of winning starting that run, but it was a lot of fun, and hopefully our HinderCars.com Chevy is just as good this year, and we can be on the right side of strategy again.
How surprised were you when Brad Keselowski pulled off the track there? I knew you knew he was tight on fuel.
Well, I mean, I chose behind him, hoping that he would run out, because just our radio communication, it sounded like they were really tight. So yeah, I chose behind him and hoped that he would run out, and it worked out. It was wild, it was crazy, and just everything that happened that last run or the last 30 laps, whatever, like for us come out the win like that, it was just meant to be that day. It was awesome. So definitely a race and a day I'll never forget, and getting to celebrate with the team, on the Art of Bricks, kissing them for the first time in my career was pretty special.
Let's talk about your May experiences here. Obviously, the last two Indianapolis 500s. Has that changed your appreciation for this place, and especially for the month of May and the Indianapolis 500, and maybe make you appreciate the Brickyard 400 a little more?
I would say no, it hasn't changed how I view this place, because I've always viewed it as being just an amazing facility, amazing history, and all that. I obviously wish it would have gone better. I just made a lot of mistakes this May and crashed a few times, and just put myself in bad positions. But I'll always be grateful of the chance to get to do the double, and you wish it would have gone better. But still, a lot of fun and a lot of stress throughout those couple weeks. But I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Stressful enough to say, hey, I don't want to do that anymore? Is it officially over that you will not try a double anymore, Kyle?
At least on my radar now, I would say no. It's just logistically it's tough. I mean, I think the 2 years I've done it, I've had weather kind of get in the mix of it. Even this year, if I didn't crash out of the 500, I wouldn't have been able to finish it because of the rain delay we had. And there's just a lot of stuff and money and everything and time and resources that goes into doing the double and just attempting it financially. Millions of dollars. So it's just a big risk to do the double. I would love to do the Indy 500 again someday when I'm done, full-time racing, just because I just don't, it doesn't sit well with me that I, made two mistakes in both of the years I've done it, and didn't get the finishes that I wanted. But still, even if I don't get to run the Indy 500, I'm grateful to have gotten to do it. So yeah, it was a fun experience, but we'll see what the future holds.
Is it as much as anything when you think about the double to say, hey, it takes away too much from the Cup program for me to do that, and puts it to too much risk?
I don't know. I don't feel that way at all about the taking away from the Cup side. I feel like our team is very well oiled. Obviously, we've been off since the double attempt this year, but I just think that's circumstantial. Last year we refired hot again. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it takes anything away. I mean, I race all the time, so it wasn't too different for me. But it was definitely still fun.
You mentioned being off since then. That kind of changed last week, though. Nice fourth place finish for you at Dover. How needed was that for this race team, and how did that kind of change the psyche of the shop this week?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it was needed, to go to a track where we know that, or at least we're confident at. You never know if you're going to be good going back to the place, but we're confident there. And just to have a clean race, really, from start to finish. It's been a long time since we've had that. We executed what had, we got to qualify, or just, small things kind of played out differently throughout the day. But yeah, it was good to get a top 5 there. And one race doesn't change everything. I'm not expecting to come here and be, lights out, and the rest of the season's going to be great. But it was just good, I think, for our mentality and whatnot to get that good run in. And, we'll just try and do the same thing this week.
All right, so as the defending winner of this race, are you cool if practice rains out? I mean, it kind of worked last week, no practice at Dover, and you finished top 5.
Yeah, I would love to go back to the COVID days of
No practice.
of just line up and race. I think, selfishly, being with a team like Hendrick Motorsports, I feel like we prepare really well. So it would kind of fall into, what we're good at. And I think it would lend itself to a guy like me who can adapt pretty quickly. But I don't know if I'll ever get back to those days. But I like rain. I like rain on Fridays and Saturdays, and then just line up Sunday and go.
All right, Adam. So Kyle mentions the rain, and guess what? He's getting his wish. It just started raining during our interview here at the Speedway, and we'll see if we can maybe get it dried up and get practice in today.
By the metric, he would start third. That's better than the 25th from last week.
Yeah, much better. I will add all that double conversation. I think one thing.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get practice in here at all. Steady rain at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway currently, and with the amount of time it would take to dry this racetrack up, Truck Series practice supposed to be at IRP at 3 p.m. Eastern coverage-wise. I just don't see them getting practice in today. By the time it stops raining, I mean, it's probably going to take every bit of 90 minutes to 2 hours to dry the track after that. Stopped raining right now, they would get started at 3, but the fact of the matter is it's currently raining. Well, that's a bummer. 2 weeks in a row, we don't get any sort of on-track activity for practice. The good news is qualifying is tomorrow. Bad news is that there's a chance of rain the rest of the weekend here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so we can only hope that everything will go according to plan. So Truck Series racing is supposed to be tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will be live for that. And I think on this stream, I'm just going to end up wrapping up the NASCAR 08 race that we started yesterday at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on our chase race number 5 of 10 to kind of occupy the final however many minutes we would have otherwise for this stream. I think they go off the air at 2. Yeah. Yeah, they go off the air at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to assume that NASCAR is probably going to make a decision at around 2-ish as to whether we will have practice or not. I'm going to also check the Motor Speedway. So tomorrow, the chances of rain are not very high until we get into the evening hours at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So closer to the start of the Xfinity race. As far as Cup qualifying goes, that's at 2:30 Eastern. Chance of rain tomorrow around that time is 16%. So pretty low. So I feel a lot more optimistic that we'll be able to get qualifying in tomorrow. As far as the Xfinity race, with it being a later start time at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, hopefully the rain holds off for that. Otherwise, we may have a doubleheader on Sunday. And if we look to the Sunday weather at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, hour by hour wise, 1 p.m. Eastern's 22% chance of rain. All day, 24% chance of rain for both tomorrow and Sunday. So I'm a lot more optimistic for the next couple of days. I believe it was a 50% chance of rain on Sunday yesterday, so the chances have gone down quite a bit. They're working in our favor, meaning the fans, but probably going to be washed out here completely. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of a head start, and we will wrap up the NASCAR 08 race we started yesterday. It's kind of a good thing we started it then. We can just finish it now. So then we're not going to end up having that stream at 6 p.m. Eastern, with that being the case. Give you guys some sort of entertainment here for about the next half hour before they go off the air. Hottest Brickyard ever on Sunday. Yeah, definitely a warm one this weekend. Hot and sticky, excuse me. Got the hiccups. Just like it was last weekend at Dover. Drivers definitely going to be battle tested inside their race cars, that's for sure. Scorpion Pitbull, thanks for tuning in. George Block, Barbarous Gish. Going to go on to X real quick and see if Bob Podkers has any updates from NASCAR specifically. Going to be looking at a black screen here for a little bit, just a fair warning. All right, so right where we left off yesterday, we have a little bit less than 100 laps to go. We just pitted, I believe, for the third time? No, fourth time. So we only have one set of tires left. And again, this is because practice is looking like it's going to be canceled. I'm like 95% sure that it's going to get canceled completely. Unless they try to reschedule it for the morning, but I don't think they're going to do that. Xfinity qualifying is supposed to be at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and they already got their full 50-minute practice session in today. So we shall see. All right, I think everything is good to go there. I had the point standings for how the season has gone so far in this playthrough. Get this race resumed here in a second. 2 weeks in a row of NASCAR 08 content. We did our Dover Chase race last week. We pumped away a couple more races during the week. Ran Talladega and Kansas. I finished 27th at Kansas. Won at Dega. We won at Dover last weekend on the channel on Saturday. So now it's time to finish up Charlotte, which we started on the channel last night. John Barber, thanks for tuning in as well. Again, for anybody wondering what is going on with practice, looks like it's going to be canceled. I'm just going to put a chat and see here. Brickyard 400 practice canceled. I'm just going to go out on the limb and say it's going to be canceled. And we'll just fill in the rest of our stream this way, instead of doing this before the truck race later tonight. Yep, we will be resuming the NASCAR 08 race. I think I have to minimize my camera a little bit. Might be a little too big. Alrighty. Let's wrap this up. I think I'm in second place if I remember correctly. Oh, that's cool. It shows current lap time at the top of the leaderboard. What all stats do they show? That's pretty cool. Oh, we're in the lead. Oh, that's right. We had a... Okay, so I'm remembering now. We had a caution right before I paused it last night. And during the caution, we were able to get to the lead on the restart. This was just after pit stops happened. So that's why I'm in the lead. Actually thought I was in second. And we're probably going to have a speed glitch because I just unpaused the game. Yeah, that was problematic because I did lose the lead. There was no way I was going to be able to block that. And I knew that that was going to happen. Hang on, the game's muted on my side. There we go. Now, there's like 5 or 6 slow cars on the racetrack that had some sort of engine or mechanical issues earlier in the race that are now back in the race. And some of those slow cars are upcoming very shortly. Could create an opportunity for us to get right back to the... We just ran our fastest lap of the race, 29.288, so the speed is definitely in this 9 car for Casey Kane. There we go. Ran my fastest lap again. I didn't even think I got through the front stretch very well that time. I could have been even quicker than that 29.107. If I remember correctly, I did not make any adjustment changes during the last pit stop. I believe we only have 1 set of tires left, which we should be able to make it inside our fuel window with 1 more stop. I mean, we could go a little less than 60 laps on a full tank. Reagan catching the slow car of Joe Nemechek in the 13. I'm just trying to stay close to him right now. He's had a quick car the whole race. Kind of sucks that I was leading and we had that speed glitch when I unpaused it. Knew that was going to happen and lost the lead. Now I ran a 28.992. A little bit of room to get by this 13 car. Not a lot, but we're going to have him cleared off turn 2. I'll tell you what, Charlotte in these old games, it is just so tight from top to bottom. And when it's a bottom feeder racetrack like this too, it's tough. I did not give him enough room. That was on me. I didn't think he was going to have enough speed to try to cross us back over in the first place, and then I did not give him a lot of room to hold that line. It's kind of what they do in real life when you pinch a guy down and then they get loose It's like, well, you probably shouldn't have pinched him down that low. I don't think the car's too badly hurt from that. If anything, it kind of held up Matt Kenseth and the rest of the field on back worse than it held me up. See, Reagan looked like he got loose off turn 4 there, but I was still able to kind of keep up with him. I'm not going to lie, though, had I known practice was going to be washed out, I probably wouldn't have rushed home from work. Probably would have stayed there, got a few more hours in first. Just kind of thinking about that. That's all right. I still got to work out today, so I guess I can pump that out a little earlier than I was expecting. It'll work itself out. I'll be back tomorrow. Somebody else on pit road. Not sure if that's a scheduled stop or not. Starting to lose David Reagan just a bit. He's catching Dave Blaney. Of the cautions we've had in this race, we've only had 2 yellows the whole race. It's a 500-mile event. We're lap 246 of 334. We finished second in the Coca-Cola 600 with only 13 laps led. I have led more laps than that in this race already. But obviously, now we're back into second again and trying to be that one position further ahead. Dave Blaney's holding us up. Slow 22 car. He's got stalled out running right behind. See, now he's blocking me. This is not right. I was 3/10 off the lead, and David Reagan's pulling away as we're struggling to get by the lap car Dave Blaney. Yeah, he's not giving... He gave me more room when I finally got underneath him, but he blocked me off the 2 corners before that. So we had our lead doubled, or I should say our deficit doubled. From about 3/10 back to 6/10 back. Looking for any way necessary to try to run down David Reagan. Blaney kind of hanging around us still. Kind of what Joe Nemechek was doing after I passed him. At least I passed him pretty easily. Tried to cross us back over. We ran our fastest lap of the race on this current run. So the speed is there for the short run. We were able to take the lead on the restart. But I've been lacking some long run speed. It seems like the longer these runs go tonight, the worse and worse the car gets. Now, there are not many cars that are on the lead lap. If I remember correctly, I believe there's only 9 cars on the lead lap, because one of the cautions out of the 2 that we had were in the middle of green flag pit stops. I believe the very first one, which was just after lap 115. And that trapped a large majority of the field a lap down. Many of them being chase drivers, too. There's very few chase drivers on the lead lap. Of the 12. Waltrip's 2 laps down. Saw Johnson was a lap down. Bobby Labonte's a lap down. Tony Stewart's out of the race. David Gillen was a lap down in 27th. He came in second in points. Started on the pole, too. Back-to-back front rows for Gillen. Ended up just outside the top 10 at Talladega, and today even worse after leading laps early. Blaney's just kind of hanging around me, too. It's so weird that he was so slow for so long. You know what? I wonder how much of it is with the game save, and I didn't even think about this till right now, because I've never done this on any of my playthroughs before. But I wonder, saving the game, if it took away whatever deficiencies he had with the car because of having engine problems earlier. Because he was slowing off the pace, so was Nemechek, and I wonder if that's why I was having a harder time trying to pass him, and that's why I'm also not able to pull away from him. I almost wonder if he's on just as equal of tires as us. Because this is very odd, especially with the damage he's got. I mean, you look at his car, he's missing a left front fender, his hood's gone. He's hanging in there. And Reagan's struggling to catch that next car in front of him as well, who should be having the same problems Blaney's having from a lack of speed side of things. Kurt Busch was another one yesterday that was having issues. Yeah, this race is shaping up really, really good for the likes of David Reagan. Our pit crew has been inconsistent all season, so to rely on this final pit stop, I don't feel too confident. I just hope we don't lose many spots. We're quite a ways out ahead of third. We are in a pretty solid spot, all things considered. Blaney hanging on that inside again and able to get the run off the high side enough to kind of clear him on the front stretch. See, even my car feels a little tight. It didn't really feel like this yesterday either. I almost wonder if it might have preset my car from the handling side of things, like whatever adjustments I made throughout the race have vanished. So I'll have to keep an eye on that when I get to pit road. I doubt that that's the case because I'm running my fastest laps. So the preset setting's probably quicker than whatever I had in it before, if that's the case. 28.844. That last lap was our fastest lap of the run, and we just hit halfway out of gas. So halfway through the fuel run, we put down our fastest lap. David Reagan's just... he's on God mode right now. I mean, he is kicking everybody's tail. Yeah, I mean, it's on a rain delay, but I don't see them getting back to action. It was raining at Indianapolis. It's going to take a long time to dry the racetrack off. They haven't had the official word that practice is canceled yet, but I just kind of... I don't like the idea of me saying that because usually I wait until official word, but just to kind of make things more clear for people that are tuning in for the first time and wondering what the heck is going on. I thought I was watching practice. Well, practice is not going on right now, so... rain out at Indy. Slight contact with Dave Blaney. I still ran my fastest lap again, 28.689. I ran my fastest lap like 4 or 5 times this run. The fact that I'm getting quicker as the run goes on is quite insane, really. I don't remember the adjustments I made most recent. I think I dropped the wedge and the air pressure a bit. Wade, thanks for tuning in. That's 72 laps to go in the race. Pack it up for tomorrow. Yeah, safe travels, man. Well, now I pulled away from Dave Blaney. I thought he might have pitted there for a second. 1 second off the lead. Maybe David Reagan blows the motor. We've had a lot of drivers drop engines in this race. And we know how those Roush engines were back in the 2000s. They were fast, but they would drop motors quite a bit too. The only good news is with being behind David Reagan is I can pit a lap or two earlier to try to gain some sort of an advantage there. That's probably what I'd want to do. Actually, you know what I'd probably like to do? I'd probably like to pit a lap after him and hope that I can cycle off a pit road and kind of move up the racetrack. Not use the blend line. Well, that would be very risky. That might be what I'm going to have to do to win this race, because I have good speed, but just not as good as that 6 car. Which, by the way, the driver polls are up in the chat or not the chat, sorry, in the community tab right now for who you want me to race as on the next season of NASCAR 08. I'll be doing a custom schedule season with the updated playoff format. In that race, the plan, or in that season, excuse me, the plan is obviously to run as whoever you want me to race as. And it will be a custom schedule season like I mentioned already. It's the final round for the Truck Series, final round for the Cup, and I'm in the second round for the Busch Series. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button because we're only 2 subs away from 6,500 coming into this stream today. We didn't quite get there last week. It was kind of chipped away at it through the week with these gaming streams, but we are very close. We might even be there right now. I haven't looked at it since the stream started 50 minutes ago. Yeah, Metallica's got a world tour coming up. Yeah, when I saw them in Detroit a couple years ago for the 2-day show, that was the last leg of their U.S. dates, and then they were going overseas immediately after. basically the final concert of the tour itself, at least for the U.S. side, North American side. Quarter of a tank of gas left this point in the run. Reagan's caught another lap car, but it's definitely not slowing him down much. Just slowly getting away from us. Well, you know what? We had a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops earlier. What are the chances that that happens again? And we're so far ahead of third place that if it stays green to the finish, I think we've got at least second place locked up. What if I just stay out as long as I can and hope that we catch a caution, we trap David Reagan a lap down, who's the quickest car in the field, and gives us a better chance to win that one. The problem is we all pitted at the same time because the last caution came out. So now that I'm actually thinking about that in my head out loud, I don't really know how many more laps I could go than him, and I might not even be able to go as far as him, depending on how he's managing fuel. I would assume with the faster speeds he's running, he would be burning more, but who knows? Maybe he's faster than me and he's not pushing as hard. I don't know. Might see him live in 2026. Yeah, if they ever... I live in Northwest Ohio, and I missed a couple opportunities when they played in Cleveland within the couple years, well, from the last time I saw them, Metallica, beforehand. I'd like to see them as many times as I can if they come locally enough, because I don't know how much longer they're going to be touring for. They're already in their early 60s. They're only going to be able to play that fast for so long. And they're still great live. I'm not going to pretend like they haven't lost a step, but they, it's not, you go and see like older acts and you just hope that it's not going to be difficult to watch. And it's not like that the last couple times I've seen Metallica by any means. They're still clicking. They're still clicking on all cylinders. It's gradually losing about a tenth or two every lap or so. See, this is starting to feel like the Busch race I had at Charlotte earlier in the season, where I was in second place most of the day and I just had nothing for the leaders. David Reagan hasn't led a ton in this race. I mean, he has been lately because he's been in the lead, but as far as like from the start to where we are now, I don't think he's led anywhere near 100 laps. He might not even have led the most. If he leads all the way to the end, he may eclipse that if he hasn't already, but he has led the most laps. It can't be by much. Hurt your wrist trying to play the heavy part of one. Yeah, it's amazing to me they don't have like carpal tunnel or something. Maybe they do and they're hiding it. Well, we're definitely in our fuel window. We have 54 laps to go. Tires are wearing out a bit. We'll be throwing our final set on the race car. The only other thing I can do, and it'd be a huge hope for a caution, but I go fuel only, and with the minimal amount of cars that we have on the lead lap, we catch a caution, then I pit, and I have fresher tires than everybody else, so we only have to drive through the top 7 or 8. But that'd be very risky, because if we don't catch a caution, I'm going to be losing spots, and at least I have second locked up. So there are alternative options that I can do for strategy. It's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all, but I really want to win so badly because I have not won here on this game in any series. And we were so close to winning the 600, and we have led more laps in this race, so in a way, I feel like I'm closer this time, even though margin, the lead right now for Reagan would be larger than what I was to J.J. Yaley when he won the 600 earlier in the season. Well, you'd be far from the only one wearing Larson merch this weekend, that's for sure. A lot of Elliott, a lot of Larson stuff. That's what I see most of the races I go to. I see quite a bit of Blaney stuff too, honestly. When I was at Michigan, there was a lot of Carson Hocevar stuff. Like, there was probably just as much Carson Hocevar stuff as there was Ryan Blaney in that, like, kind of third echelon of driver merch, I guess, that I would see at the track. Obviously, that's his home track, but even still. So we're in the lead. David Reagan just pitted. This is our chance. I really hope we see a caution. He's not a lap down yet. He will be this time by. A little loose off turn 4 for me. 49 laps to go. David Reagan's a lap down. There he is. Please, can we get a caution? Right now. Trap the fastest car in the field a lap down. That would be great. I'll be pitting this time. We'll have 48 laps to go after we cycle off a pit road, so we'll definitely be good on fuel to the end. Try to get all I can coming into the pits. Oh, slow her down, slow her down. I almost spun out. That was close. I almost spun out trying to get to pit road. Oh, man, we got so much traffic in the pits. We're at the 2025 Coke 600. That's cool. That was a great race. That's probably my favorite race of the season so far, if I'm being honest. Yeah, that was a Tokyo Drift and a half. 21.6 is a slow stop. David Ray, I don't know where he's at. He's 10 seconds. Oh, he's already passed us. There was no chance. Yeah, that was a slow stop by the pit crew there. We're going to be further behind David Reagan. I got all I could coming into the pits. Stayed out 2 laps longer, just hoping for a caution. Didn't catch it. We were about 2.5 seconds off the lead. We really didn't lose much time to him. About a half a second, maybe. Well, I mean, we're in the boat where we just have to hope for a caution at this point. We don't have any more tires we could throw in the car, so we would be staying out, restarting in second. I don't imagine anybody else will pit, knowing that everybody should be good on fuel to the end, but we've cycled all the way through green flag pit stops. We've only had 2 cautions so far in the race tonight. Well, from last night and today, but we haven't had cautions during this portion of the race. The Friday edition. Didn't the race end at like 11? Probably, somewhere around there. I don't remember well enough, honestly. I don't think it was that late, considering it started just after 6. I mean, that's close to 5 hours. I don't think it was that long. Because there wasn't a lot of cautions either. I mean, it was probably around 3.5, 3:45. There was no way that race went over 4 hours. And if it did, it barely did. So it probably got done closer to about 10-ish, if I had to guess. Probably 10, 10:30. Still losing time to David Reagan even after leaving the pits. That's why we would need a restart. Be right up there with him. Was able to get to the lead on the last restart. It's kind of crazy to think, but pausing the game to make the mid-race save and finish the race today is actually what costed me the lead because of that speed glitch, and we've never had a chance to get it back. And I'm running my fastest laps of the race again, like I did on the last run. I just ran a 28.608. Fastest lap I've ran all race long. But we're 3.5 seconds off the lead, and we're still losing time to David Reagan. Leave Nashville at 8 a.m.? Is that Central Time? Because you're going to go through a time change. Nashville Central Time and India's Eastern. So if you leave at like 9 Eastern, race starts at 2. I feel like you'd want to get there a little bit earlier than that just to kind of beat traffic. Getting to the track closer to the start time of the race is always worse just because there's so much traffic. By the time you actually find a place and get parked, especially Indy being a big racetrack too, you get to your seats. You might not have enough time to really look for stuff if you want to see the whole race. Plus there's a rain delay, that would always help you. In that case you'd have plenty of time. That's not a guarantee. That's my warning to you. Also, Wade, you got to try the pork tenderloins. I don't know if you've ever been at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway before, but the pork tenderloin stand that they have in the infield at Indy, top tier. And you don't need like infield passes or anything to go into the infield of Indianapolis because that's where they have the Indy Museum. If you've never been in the Indy Museum, I highly recommend that as well. See, that's another reason. That's one of those tracks. I feel like you have to get there early just because there's so much to do there. I think it's only $10 to go in the Indianapolis Museum, too. It's fairly cheap. Maybe inflation, it's more expensive over the last few years, but $10, that's not bad. I was probably in there for close to 2 hours. Granted, I spent great time in detail looking at stuff, because when I was at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, that was like 3 floors of stuff. And, I was in the NASCAR Hall of Fame for like 5 hours. I don't know what the average visit time is, but I probably exploited that by quite a bit. Brickyard 400 practice canceled. Yeah, I assumed, and I knew they were going to wait till about 2 o'clock to make it official because that was the end of the TV window. See, I've watched NASCAR long enough to know that that's when they make their decisions on a lot of things. It's like, let's wait till the end of the TV window. The reason why they do that is because they want to keep the viewer tuned in. If they said, oh, it's a complete wash right now, we're not going to race, then fans will be tuning off and they're losing numbers. So they don't want to tune fans away from whatever network that the race is on. That's why they're always optimistic when it comes to weather and getting the race in and stuff like that if you ever watch any sort of TV coverage during a rain delay. I don't have that ability, so I'll just shoot you straight whether I think they're going to run or not run. And today I was pretty confident they weren't going to run. Hence the reason why I jumped on this as early as I did. Now we only have about 35 laps to go, so we're clicking away. And we'll end the stream as soon as this race is done. So we made it to lap 300. David Reagan's caught quite a bit of lap traffic at the back of the field, but I'm still almost 4 seconds off of the lead. Always get to the track as soon as the gates open. I'm not that early, usually. I mean, my family and I get to Michigan International Speedway early every year, but we usually tailgate. We have like 8 of us. So that's a little bit different. But when I'm going by myself or I'm going with like one other person, I usually try to get there a couple hours before the start of the race. But there's no need for me to get there at the break of dawn. I'll go die-cast hunting, and I can pretty much be in and out and try to find a die-cast I like within about a half hour of looking or so. Concerned about Sunday weather-wise? I'm not. If it rains, it's going to be a pop-up shower. With it being hot and humid all weekend, I mean, there's just as even of a chance of rain as there is not to, in my eyes. 24% chance isn't very high, but kind of like today where... I will say the rain in the forecast for today was a lot higher percentage chance that it was going to rain than what it was for Saturday and Sunday. And even Saturday's a little bit higher than Sunday if you look at the hour-by-hour forecast for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the evening hour side of things. I'm pretty optimistic about Sunday that they'll be able to get the race in. And I'm pretty confident about qualifying tomorrow. The Xfinity race might be a little spotty in the evening, but it's an early start time for Cup on Sunday, too, just after 2 p.m. Eastern, which really helped them last week with Dover. You know, usually we've seen in recent years where the races don't start until like 3:30 for a lot of these Cup races, even at tracks without lights. So I commend NASCAR for actually having an earlier start time than what they've had in recent years for Dover last week, because that helped them get the race in. It was only an hour rain delay, but by the time they got back to racing again, they had about an hour of daylight left. Had they started the race an hour later, they would have been pushing the clock for darkness by the end of it. So I'll give them credit where credit's due there. And I'm glad that we're having that for Indy this weekend as well. I'd still like them to start it a little bit earlier than that. But, you know, 2 o'clock is better than 3:30. On the East Coast especially. 4.5 seconds off the lead. Less than 30 laps to go. We've just been riding around for a while, hoping for a caution. As David Reagan laps more cars, but most of the cars he's dealing with are already a lap down. Elliott Sadler in 9th is the last car in the lead lap. And Juan Pablo Montoya in 10th place. A lap down is the first car of which, so he's trying to hold out for a caution as well so he can get back on the lead lap. And being in the top 10, you never know. He might have contention for an even better finish than that. Tied my best lap of the race that last time by. Putting down absolute heaters is not doing anything for me. Our next race is going to be Martinsville on this game, and that is going to end up being on Monday, more than likely. Actually, no, I can't stream on Monday. Oh, that just occurred to me. Yeah, I forgot I'm going to be gone Monday night. Shoot. Heck, I might have to start the truck series during the week then. 500 laps at Martinsville, I'm not going to be able to do on a work night. I completely forgot I was going to be out of town on Monday. Well, yeah, I guess we're going to have to wait a week for the next Cup race at least. I'll probably end up just starting the custom schedule season for the Truck or Busch series. Kind of fill some time during the week, but yeah, I forgot about Monday. I'm going to be at Monday Night Raw and Monday night in Detroit. Yeah, I'll have no time to stream. I'd have to do it early in the afternoon. I'm not doing that on a Monday. If it was a holiday, I would consider it, but yeah, not during the week. Yeah, that just kind of snuck up on me. Good thing I didn't have the schedule out there already. I'd say Tuesday you'll be at the Tigers game. Didn't you say it was an afternoon game, though? Well, I mean, I will be streaming on Tuesday regardless, but it's probably just not going to be the Cup race like I would hope. I don't want to start it and then finish it another day. That's probably the only time I'm ever going to do this. But, you know, I'm down to the final 5 races of this Cup Series season, so we'll have the driver polls done for the Truck Series and the Busch Series by then, so I can start a lower series race, get it done quicker than what I would for a Cup event. Oh, you're going to 2 games, Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, that's cool. How are the Diamondbacks even doing this year? I have no idea. I don't keep up with a lot of teams around the league outside of my Tigers. Down to 20 laps to go already. Just under 5 seconds off the lead from David Reagan. Holding out and just hoping for a late caution to give us any sort of a shot at him. A little under 500. Not only I'm 4.8 seconds off the lead, but look at all the lap cars that are between myself and David Reagan. There is zero chance. Without a caution. Which I figured anyway, just because of the speed difference. He is faster than us. That last lap had a 28.944. He had a 28.815. Just quicker. "15 laps to go." by Dave Blaney up high. Get by Tony Stewart down low. Miss David Reagan. Yeah, what a super speedway ace. I know he only won 2 of them, but he was in contention for a lot, especially at Front Row Motorsports. I mean, even he ran some Daytona 500s there for a couple years after he retired from full-time competition. He would still be getting top 10s. I think in 2020 he had a top 10 or a top 5. He wasn't far behind Hamlin, Newman, Blaney there at the finish. Five and a half seconds off of Reagan. Well, I'd say Front Row Motorsports is still pretty competitive when Michael McDowell was there. Basically kind of took over for him. McDowell was able to be competitive at the super speedways and be qualifying front row a lot. And with the next gen, they were able to win the 500 in 2021. And they got a road course race win, which is their first non-super speedway win as a organization with McDowell. Yeah, this year they're definitely having a down year, though, since McDowell left. That's for sure. Gregson's wrecking a lot. Todd Gillen just looks a lot slower than what he was there last couple seasons. Zane Smith's having decent runs from time to time. He's probably the brightest spot this season in particular for front row out of the 3 cars. Now they got the whole charter mess going on right now. Like, it is not a great time to be a fan of Front Row Motorsports. Going through some tough times. Yeah, you're just missing me by a day. Hamlin's slowing off the pace. Get by him. Well, I mean, we could get a caution theoretically at any lap, as long as it's not the final lap of the race. But we're running out of laps for that yellow flag to take place here. We have 6 laps to go. We're 6 seconds off the lead from David Reagan in the number 6. On the reverse number 9, Casey Kane in second. I don't know what it's going to take for me to win at Charlotte on this game. I just don't have the car or the truck. Any series we run here, I'm just not the quickest. We're getting beat by off-the-wall drivers, too, in the Cup Series. J.J. Yaley won the 600, and David Reagan stomps everybody here in the fall 500-mile race. Quarter of a tank of gas left at this point in the run. Plenty good, even if we go past the scheduled distance with a green-white checker finish. 4 laps to go for David Reagan. Maybe he drops a motor and I win the race that way. We've had second place locked up for a long time. I did see Kevin Harvick blow an engine not that long ago. He was on the lead lap, so I think we're only down to 8 cars on the lead lap now. Assuming that Reagan hasn't caught and passed any of them. Lapped them during this current run. One like shy of 25 on the stream, so if you haven't hit the like button, yeah, be sure to do so. As we're going to be closing this out here in the next couple minutes. Take a look at the point standings as soon as this race is done. So we'll be officially halfway through the chase. White flag going to be waving this time by for David Reagan. What a dominant performance here at Charlotte as I'm going in the grass to stay below these lappers. Oh, don't wreck it. Don't wreck it. We're good. We're good. We are good. Overdrove it quite a bit there. Man, I almost blew that away. Good thing I was so far ahead of third. All right, I'll take a runner-up. I almost blew that. That would have been bad. Yeah, first career win, David Reagan. That's right, he is a rookie. Rookie David Reagan gets a win. I believe he's the 3rd or 4th different driver to get their first career wins this season. We've seen a couple drivers get their final career wins, considering they never won again in the Cup Series, like Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Sterling Harlan. We've had 3 drivers get their final career wins this season. And of drivers that get their first career wins, it would be Casey Mears at Fontana, because it was before the 600 where he actually won. Clint Boyer, rookie season, he gets his first career win. Today with David Reagan, because he didn't win until 2011 in the Cup Series. And then, yeah, so he's the 3rd driver. Third first-time winner of the season. Oh, I thought I led more laps than I did earlier this season. So I led 13 in the Coke 600. I only led 10 tonight. I honestly thought I led more laps than that. Well, anyway, 96 laps led for David Reagan. He gets a max points day. Non-chaser ends up upsetting the field today and wins at Charlotte. Casey Kane 2nd, Mark Martin 3rd. His former ride 1. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon was the 2nd highest chase finishing driver in 4th, and he did lead laps. Martin Truex Jr. 5th, also in the chase. Ken's at 6th. He's in the chase. Elliott Sadler in 7th, won. Pablo Montoya was the last car to finish on the lead. Actually, Montoya ended up finishing 8th, and then Kyle Busch 9th. So 9 cars finished on the lead lap. I think Montoya and Busch got their laps back at the end or something. Dale Earnhardt Jr. ended up 10th, first car lap down. And we had quite a few DNFs. David Gillen finished 20th after starting on the pole. He finished 2 laps down. But of the DNFs today, we had Robbie Gordon late, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch was very slow but on the track. Same for Scott. Really, everybody that had issues kind of came back in, and I think that was after the game saved. So if we did not have the game saved, then AJ Allmendinger, Denny Hamlin, Joe Nemechek, Dave Blaney, Tony Stewart, Scott Riggs, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, Robbie Gordon would have all DNF. That was 9 drivers that did not make it to the finish. I like how it says 244 lead changes. That is also not correct. You know what? I think I led 10 laps. No, I didn't lead 10 laps today. It says 244 lead changes. That is clearly not the case. And I think the glitch comes from saving the game and then finishing it today, turning the PS2 completely off. Because the margin of victory was also only 48 laps. And I think lap 244 was when I resumed the race. And we only had one lead change that entire time. Well, Reagan took the lead from me initially after the speed glitch. And then we led for 2 laps during green flag stops, then he was back out in front. So we had 3 lead changes on today's portion of the race. But yeah, 244 was the lap I stopped the race on yesterday. So definitely more than 48 minutes. That's just how long the race today took. 623 mile per hour average race speed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've set the new new record for the fastest race in NASCAR history. I didn't even see that. How does that even happen? Oh, it's because it was 40. Okay, so it was calculating 48 minutes by 334 laps, so that's how it got to 623 miles per hour. I see what the game did there. That's funny. 7-second margin of victory. Well, it wasn't a wild race, but the statistics would say otherwise. Just the 2 yellows. It said none because we didn't have any cautions today, but we had 2 of them in yesterday's portion of the race. And like I said already, we've got 5 races to go. Our next race is at Martinsville, and that probably won't be until next Friday on the channel. I will be doing, obviously, NASCAR weight streams during the week, but we'll probably get the custom schedule season started for Truck and maybe for the Busch Series as well. But, yeah. Martinsville, Atlanta, Texas, Phoenix, Homestead. That's what we've got left. .337 lead over David Gillen. We're almost 2 full races. Actually, we're a little over 2 full races ahead of Gillen. We might be able to clinch the title a couple races early. These chasers are just not having good runs, and we are. 3 wins, a 2nd, and a 27th. And we've still got 337 points on it. Now, we did have 90 when I don't think that would have actually been the case in real life. I think we would have only had a 5-point difference over 2nd. But even still, without the extra 85 points, I mean, we're still in very good shape. And Labonte is the last of the chase drivers. Jimmy Johnson's still hovering around 10th. Jeff Gordon is only 1 point behind David Gillen. Gillen in 2nd for the 2nd consecutive race in points. What a dream season for the 38. All right. That's going to wrap up this stream. Next stream going to be live commentary later tonight for the Craftsman Truck Series, and that race will be beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern on the channel. We will be live for that, so hope to see you then. And thanks for watching. I will see you guys later tonight, about 5.5 hours from now.